Can you believe it? Another Friday has come to pass. And we are together once again to talk about all things about Raspberry Pis and Linux and CompTIA and. So, hey, everybody, welcome to Friday Pi Day Drama. Dave Rush Ask Me Anything. I am the aforementioned Dave Rush, and I will be with you for the next 2 hours or so as we talk about all things technical. Pretty much anything is fair game, other than religion and politics and COVID. Hello, TD Washington. Hello, Andre de Goyer. We survived another week. We did survive another week, at least all of us, except the most notable exception. Last minute, I was really kind of a little late on the draw on this one. I would have liked to put up a British flag behind me. There aren't many people in the world who look negatively at the former Queen of England. She was an amazing woman, and she will certainly be missed. She was very different in her latter years than she was in her formative years. But excuse me. Oh, that never happens. Maybe that means I won't hiccup today. We'll see. Well, is anybody here yet? Yeah, a few people. It's a good start. Hey, good afternoon. Had some fun yesterday. It's been a busy week, and I'm very happy to say that I found my topic for this week last Saturday, day after the show. And Saturday night, I wrote the show and made very, very few changes to the show over the course of the week. Last night, I got an idea. So late last night, I came in and tested my idea. It was good. And so I spent a little time writing that and then went to bed. And this morning got up and got it. Why do I don't know. Sorry, stand by. Back channel. Anyways, so I mean that was it. Whatever I got back channeled on. This was the new person who's in charge of one of the projects that I work on. No rush. Post right in the middle of my show and then tell me no rush. Oh, goodness gracious. Anyways, so this project was enormous and it's never ending, but this first leg of it came with a huge rush job, and it wasn't something that was possible to be rushed. I had to build out a new studio, and I had a studio built out, but then the machine we had was no good for it, and so we had to get another machine and get it built, and all done. Huzzah! And that took 4 days. And then once that was done, I said, oh, good, now I'm going to catch up on things that have languished. And so I worked on those things and finally kind of got caught up on those, and I'm ready to go. And then one of the things that was supposed to get done got missed. Not my fault. Thank you, Tullwood, for the horrible, Andre for the horrible pun. But I got this message after hours the other night and said, hey, something got missed. And so, well, I didn't miss anything. And this is everything that was handed off to me to pick up and do my part of it. No, it got missed, upstream from that. You got to turn it in 7 minutes. Said, look, I'm looking at this, the elements of this thing. If I can turn it, the quickest I could possibly turn it in is a day. And I'll work on it tonight because, I work at night after hours. And so I put 4 hours into it that night and was nowhere close. And then I put another 3 hours into it the next day. And then I finally had something that was shootable. And then I'm ready to shoot. I can pull the trigger on it right now and start shooting, except I don't have any of the family at home. I'm solo this week. the boy is off at school. The missus is off in Washington State visiting relatives. And so I got to dig up a neighbor, a high school kid, somebody who can handle a computer and follow directions. High school kids follow directions, or a neighbor adult, and say, look, I need a help for half an hour. It's something that should take 6 minutes, but because they don't know the routines and all that stuff, it's going to take me. Anyway, so that's my weekend project. And that means I wasn't able to do all the last minute prep stuff that I wanted to until this morning, but it was done this morning. Everything is done. Pi-R-Square is up and running. If you want to get today's notes and outlines and slides and all that good stuff, just go to pirsquare.zapto.org. I'll throw that up in the chat feed in a little while. Oh, so much to do, so much to say. Let's see who's here. So Tullawit first in as ever and always, half an hour before show starts. Welcome Tullawit, and Andre followed him not too long after that. Both of them are moderators over at the Unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel. I will post a link up for that in just a little bit. And if you haven't joined us over there, you are missing something. There's the missing hiccups. I don't hiccup all day. It's when I do this, and it may just be that I'm inhaling a lot of my own carbon dioxide. I don't talk sitting here and at my monitor for the most part. Anyway, if you haven't checked out our Discord channel, and I say it's not mine, it's not Total Seminars, it's why it's called the Unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel, because it has nothing to do with Total Seminars as far as owning or operating or running it or anything like that. Some of the Total Seminars folks, including myself, are members and users of it, but it was built by somebody else and it's moderated by other people that aren't Total Seminars. That doesn't detract from its incredible usefulness and power and joy. There are so many sub areas in which you can participate. You can answer questions, you can ask questions on all kinds of different topics, obviously Raspberry Pi and Linux, and help me fix my computer, and help me study for A+, or let's get a study group together, and many, 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 many more. So you know what, I've yapped at it so much. That's an unfair tease to do that without posting the links. So let us post 2 links that we've already talked about. My server up and running since, actually, I kind of accidentally left it up and running all week for reasons that will become clear to you in short order. So pirsquare.zapto.org. Notice that I have no longer given the warning that says it's HTTP only, because it's not. I've got a certificate in it again, and we're back to either HTTP or HTTPS. Okay, so I got the link for the Unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel invitation. Please join us over there. It's a lot of fun. It's a great way to communicate with me, at least to establish communication. It's not an official Total Seminars product, and therefore I don't talk about anything official. Don't call me there and ask me for tech support on any product that we offer. I don't do that there. I talk just like anybody else does. Let's talk about technology and ask questions and answer questions. If you want to get tech support on a Total Seminars product, contact the appropriate tech support people at Total Seminars, or contact me on a tech support official channel. Email me at my company email. That way they have a record of everything that I've done and said and so forth. How it works. Who else is turning up? TD Washington, one of my favorite nice people out there. Techie Tommy's here. Hi, Dave. How you doing? I'm good, Techie Tommy. How are you? Who also greets his fellow nerds. Leonard Soriano's back. Nice to see you back, my friend. I think you're back. I get the memory of a gnat. Sometimes I can't remember what I had for breakfast right after I wash my breakfast dishes. But you're solo this week. Yeah, party with some cool music. Mozart, Bach, and Beethoven. Totally on the cool side. Not that I object. I listen to my fair share. I'll tell you what happens when I am solo. I used to play piano, and I started picking up guitar when I was in Saudi 12 years ago. your basic 3-chord and pluck a few things here and there. And I haven't developed much past that. But when the family's away, I can crank, I can jam, I can learn. And so I practice a little bit on keyboards. I'm half decent there. And then I'm just totally useless on guitar. And so I crank up a small amp. And then, every now and again on Sunday night, just to tick off the neighbors, I'll get one of the big amps and set it up on the back porch and rip out some power chords. And so that's what I'll be doing tonight. The other thing that I've been doing, I mentioned this, the start of this last week, 30 minutes every day. If I get a chance to sit on the couch in the living room and cool my jets a little bit, catch a little bit of television, I just tie my bow tie. I'm not good, but I am getting much better, and I can consistently tie a tie. It just doesn't always look good, but a few more days of that, certainly a week or two, and I'll be an old hand and ready to teach the kid. Ken Young is here. I hope that's Young. I guess it could be Jungi, but I've always pronounced it Young, and that's what I'm sticking with. That's my story. Nice to see you back. And piano guitar, maybe that's why you're solo, but they ran. And I ran. There, we'll do Flock of Seagulls. It's nice that you cracked yourself up there. What do we got here? Anybody worth doing any of the big posts yet? Not yet. So we'll hold off on that. Let's go see what's going on in Yon notes. Those are not Yon notes. But I do have notes. There they are. Let's move that up just a hair. There we go. And it didn't blow up. Cool. So it is Friday. If you're just watching these at random, which is a capability in the YouTube archives in the playlists, this is September 9th. We get together every Friday to do drama. Dave Rush, Ask Me Anything. At 2 o'clock Central Time, if it's Central Daylight Time, and then I do it at 2 o'clock Central Daylight Time. If it's Central Standard Time, I do it at Central Standard Time. We get together typically for about 2 hours every Friday. We spend the first hour answering questions, doing news and tips of the week, and whatever else I feel like talking about. It's very free form, whatever you feel like talking about. And then second hour, I always start a project, almost always start a project that has some value to everybody as technical people, to technicians. Oftentimes it's tied to a CompTIA exam objective. Today's meets that. In fact, it meets all those goals. Today's project is something that certainly every technician should know. And I think a lot of users ought to be aware of this one. You as technicians should be communicating this stuff that I'm going to talk about today to your friends, your family, your clients, whoever you support, and get them doing this every month. Certainly no less frequently than every 3 months. We're going to check the health of hard drives. And I'm going to depart from my usual total Linux and or Raspberry Pi focus because I think this is such an important topic that we're going to look at how to do this stuff in Windows first. And I'm going to show you 2 different tools to do this in Windows, and then we'll switch over and show you the command line tool to do this in Linux. There are graphical utilities as well, and they're probably, well, they're certainly easier to use, and they are just as effective, but I got to make little Linuxy, right? So I am Dave Rush. I'm the senior instructor at Total Seminars. If you're watching this in the archive and you've never seen this before, you don't know who Total Seminars is, we are Mike Myers. Mike Myers is our former president. He got bought out, and so we are now part of a larger parent company called National Cyber Group. Mike still works for us. He's a senior vice president over there and investor in the company. He still participates a lot in the Total Seminars things, but he is moving to different pastures. We're going to use different people to do many of his productions. He'll still come in and do various episodes in the courses because he just likes to see himself on camera, likes to hear himself talk. I make the same claim. That's part of the reason that I'm here with you. But that's Total Seminars. I'm the senior instructor there. With COVID going away and travel happening in face-to-face things, I'm starting to get assignments in the future to get back on the road and start doing stand-up courses. Our normal stand-up courses are geared to teachers. We typically do train the trainers. So you're a teacher, you want to teach A+ or Network Plus or Security Plus or whatever, and you want to use our materials, not just our books, but we have other products that we make available to educational institutions. I'll go in and spend a week or two with the training staff there, with the teachers, and say, look, here's some really great techniques that you can use to teach this, and here's good ways to use the lab manuals, and here's how to use the lab kits, and sometimes we run them all the way through a class and get them certified. Many times they are technologically adept, but not certified. So, hey, let's go through a whole class and we'll learn it from the teaching perspective. And then end of the week or two, we'll go and take a CompTIA exam. But that's not our big audience. Our big audience is federal law enforcement agencies, DEA, FBI, CIA, others, where their people need to go to court and offer some credentials and expertise in what they have done when it comes to, perhaps searching for data. More importantly, when they've seized computer equipment, they knew what they were doing without, damaging data or that's it, preserving it. So we do a little bit of computer forensics as part of the whole thing. We show them how to use and set up cameras from a networking perspective. It's a lot of fun. So getting ready to wear that hat again. In the meantime, I do all kinds of things. My fun things are this and shooting total sims simulations. I've been heavy into that. I moderate a whole bunch of forums. All right, enough of my resume. So why are we here? We get together every week to advance technical learning, oftentimes using Raspberry Pi computers as tools to foster our study and prepare for certification exams. This is drama episode number 109. I love that. It grows so slowly, but it grows. I love that. By the way, we do shows 3 times a week. I do a show once a week every Friday. Mike does 2 shows a week, live, in person, and interactive, just like this. You can communicate with him on YouTube channel, on the chat channel, or through other methods that he will provide for you. Every Monday and every Wednesday, 2 o'clock Central Time, same as me. Since he does 2 shows, he does them 1 hour apiece. Still gets his 2 hours in. So this is a Q&A. This is an Ask Me Anything. I encourage you to ask me anything. And the easiest way to do that, if you're watching the show live here and now, is to do so in the YouTube chat channel. But if that's not possible or practical for you for the myriad reasons, like you ain't here right now, then there are other ways to do this. And the best way to do it is to contact me via email. You can find me at my office address, daver@totalsem.com, or at my personal email address, drushtx@yahoo.com. You can call the office number, but I work at home 27 days a month, so I'm not going to be there. If I'm gaming, I always intend to do more gaming, and then here comes the workload. But if I'm gaming and I'm on Steam, I am Blood Rush TX. I don't remember how I came up with that name. The Rush TX is pretty obvious. Let's see what else we got up here while we're at it. So my web server is up. I bring it up Friday morning. It's got all of the archives of all of the documents and slides and outlines that I use to create all of these shows. You can watch the shows in archive on the playlist. Just go to youtube.com/user/Total Seminars channel. And then you'll be able to pick the playlist out of there. Mike's playlist of all of his shows are there. My playlist of all of my shows. But this is where you get the documents. https://pi_r_square.zapto.org. I did make it back into HTTPS this week. You can still send it to HTTP if you want. It'll auto redirect to HTTPS. And as long as I'm covering all the ground that's covered, and I'll put all this stuff in the YouTube chat channel. You don't have to write this down. But if you want, you can always just freeze the screen and make notes if you so chose. So just because you're kind enough to join us every week at Fridays, we have specials that are only available to you. We don't advertise these anywhere else. This is just for the people who watch the AMAs, Mike's AMA and my drama. You have to create your own bundle. So what you do is you go to totalsem.com, and then if you are interested in studying and preparing for any of these exams, A+, Net+, Sec+, and so forth, what you do is you go to our merchant area and you get the ebook and put it in your basket. Doesn't work with the paper book or the hardbounds. Got to select the ebook from one of those topics. And then from the same topic, put our Total Tester practice test product in the basket. And then when you go check out this week, we change the code every week. This week, the code is beard. Not because I have one. I always name it after an event that happened on the Monday of the week, sometime in history. And I remember there was a Russian czar who imposed a tax on beards. And I'm thinking like in the year 490 or something. Maybe that's next week's. We did 490. What is that? Oh, heck, let's look. I'll cheat. Excuse me. Show notes. Okay, now in the year 1698, Russian Tsar Peter the Great imposed a tax on beards. I wouldn't have made it. I would have had to relocate out of the Russian borders. Anything else here? Yeah, the link to the unofficial Total Seminars Discard channel. Again, I'll post this up on the YouTube, but it's a permanent link. It stays up there all the time. And that's all I want to do from the slides up there for now. Now let's go and post some of those links just for fun. So first of all, the link for AMAs. Sorry, for the special discount of the week. That's good through this Sunday night, by the way. We'll put a new code up on Monday morning. Monday's code happened in the year 490 BC. Easy enough to look up. What else? Email addresses and LinkedIn profiles. Let's put those up. That's a nice thing in the list. Click that. So there's my two email addresses, my work email address and my personal email address. Putting up my LinkedIn profile address. If you're not following me, you're missing one or two, hopefully really good posts every week. Oftentimes they are just, what are we going to do on drama this coming week? And sometimes the muse is upon me and I write something fun. I certainly wrote a lot this week. Some people liked it. Nobody wrote me and said they didn't like it, but I'm sure there are people who just kept their mouth shut and said, why are you writing about this? All right, that's all that stuff that we need to post for now. Highlight that for future and off we go. All right, so was there anything else here in these notes that I wanted to share? For any of our AMAs, ask questions, contacts via email. I'm logged into the Discord channel 24 hours a day. I obviously, when I'm asleep and the computer goes into hibernate, I'm not, but I'm pretty much sitting in front of this desk between about 6 a.m. or so until midnight or 2 a.m. minus a dinner break and maybe catch one of my favorite TV shows. NFL started last night. Scarhart dragged me into his fantasy league last year because somebody bailed out at the last second. And because of where I was when he called me, I wasn't able to participate in the draft. You know, the draft starts in an hour. Dude, I'm at an event right now. I'm not going to whip out my phone and play it in a draft that I've never played in before. So the league decided to let my account auto draft. And I came in next to last out of 12 teams in the league. And not surprising, I actually worked kind of hard every week to see if I could salvage that, or I won a game or two, but ugh. And I said to myself last year, this is too hard. It takes up too much time. I am not going to participate in the league this year and do fantasy. And here I am, totally talked into it and dragged back into it. So I did a real draft and I have real people, and I'm not going to have enough time. I'm going to wind up abandoning some, but I'm not going to come up in last or second to last place this year. So reading my notes here, did that. All right, I'm all caught up here. Up to that point, let's go see who else is joined in the fray. The furball, the tarball. What are you doing? Okay, good. We got a good. We're in the body count now where it should be. If you haven't hit that thumbs up like button, please do. It doesn't help me or Total Seminars or anybody else make money. It just helps other people find these streams. So we're talking about S.M.A.R.T today. So later when somebody says, I want a good YouTube article on S.M.A.R.T, and they go do search YouTube for S.M.A.R.T, this will improve their chances of finding our presentation. Same thing for all of Mike's specials and whatever. Reading. All right. Picking it up at time mark 2:11 with post. I like to sing solo. Solo, you can't hear me. What's Mike's? Mike's got a really bad pun joke about singing like a dead sailor. He dies at sea, something to that effect. Ugh. Andre is just teasing. I like to sing along with some MP3s every now and again. Keeps the wife and kids away. You are so channeling Tullowit. The fact that I can't sing doesn't mean I won't sing. Here, me too. I used to be able to sing, and then I got old and my voice changed again. It's that second voice change in life that really mangles you. It's when you can no longer hit those. Well, I could never hit soprano notes, of course, and I could barely hit tenor notes, but I was a decent baritone. And now all I've got down here is a very limited range, low baritone, upper bass, and I can sing 9 notes. Patricia Grace checking in from work, probably can't stay. That's right. It's nice that you check in for a little while. We do appreciate that, Patricia. And somebody came in and said, hello, nerds. So I figured they were channeling you. Is Mike making more money now? Well, his printer is, he's ordering a lot of green ink. That's all I can tell you. Who are you courting? Does my wife? No, thank you. But if I use a VPN, this is Andre at 219. If I use a VPN to make internet think I'm in the US, would that cut down on latency? No, it will add, well, it depends on the latency between you and the VPN. And of course, the location of the VPN relative to the distance. If all things are equal, it will slightly increase latency because you have to do a pass through the VPN server. I think that's one of the penalties that goes with a VPN. I have 2 VPNs, Proton VPN and some other one that I haven't used in a couple of months, but it adds a little bit of latency, such as life. But once the stream starts, it shouldn't cause any more pauses. Latency means how long does it take from the time my system makes a request to the time that response arrives at my computer. So it takes a little bit to make a connection, but when we're streaming, there is no acknowledgments or anything like that. We do all the negotiation and all the latency up front, and then once it starts streaming, it might be 7 seconds or 10 seconds or 12 seconds, whatever it is, delayed, but it's going to stream just fine. At least that's my experience, and that's the way it's supposed to work, and that is matched by my experience. Big Sprint, with all those Pi videos, any thought of grouping them into smaller, somewhat logical groups? Yeah, I think about it all the time, and there are 2 reasons that I don't. One, I don't know how to group them. I'm open to suggestion on how they might be grouped. Second of all, I don't have the time between work tasks day to day in life. Unless we're just talking about recreating a file and changing the order up. So open to suggestions and assistance, but for the moment, they are automatically set up in the YouTube archive playlist, rather, in chronological order. Okay, then came my posts. And Andre Ruskis do weird things more often. I'm a beardo. Okay, Tommy. We're learning more and more about you every show. Yeah, Daniel Thibodeau is a regular participant on the Discord channels. NFL start date is Sunday. No, my friend, NFL start date was last night. The Buffalo Bills played the one of the LA teams, Rams. Yeah, because I saw Stafford getting his butt strangled. So no, my friend. Daniel, that's what you do on Discord. You kind of drive me a little bit nuts. You state things and then get more accurate information after that. So, or you state things fast and loose. Start Sunday. No, it didn't. TD Wash, fun fact. The one member of ZD Top is Frank, who doesn't have a beard, right? Everybody better know that. And of course, Billy Gibbons had that great big long beard, and I always dropping names. Right? I don't know if you knew this. As long as we're doing fun facts about beard trivia and ZZ Top, Gillette Corporation offered Billy and not Frank, Dusty. Thank you, Dusty Hill. A massive amount of money, millions of dollars, to shave their beards using Gillette equipment, of course, and they declined. Is a VPN worth the money and security? Is it worth the security? I don't even know how to answer that question. Is it worth the money? That's up to you. I only use free ones. And the problem with free ones is not functionality, but so many people use the free ones that oftentimes some of the bandwidth gets choked. But I don't know how to answer that question. Is it worth the money? If you must have one and you need the most minimal delay and the maximum bandwidth for you, it might be worth it. Is it worth the security? I don't know what that means. All right, that takes care of all that. Where are we at here? 33, right on the numbers. Too soon to do a contest. So let's go do some other stuff. Going back to my notes here. Ken Young, okay. Ken Young says yes. I'm assuming that's approval of the way I've pronounced his name historically. So let's get a little bit caught up on my notes. For instance, at this point in my notes, we just talk about today's project. Do you need a Raspberry Pi to do today's project? No, you do not. I'm going to do the project from two perspectives, as I mentioned. One, how to check the health of your hard drives or SSDs on a Windows machine. This is such an important topic that I said I don't want to make this an all Linux topic. I want people to know how to do this. As technicians, you need to be able to check it. As users, you should be testing your systems. So any Windows 10, Windows 11, I didn't test it on Win 7. There is a piece of software that I know does run on Win 7. I've done that in the past. The command line technique from Windows that I'm going to show you today, I don't know if that was available in Win 7. I don't think it was. So I'm going to focus on Win 10 and Win 11. And then, of course, we're going to do it on Linux on a Raspberry Pi. But you don't need to do what I'm going to show you today on your Linux system. It doesn't have to be a Raspberry Pi. It will work on any and every Linux system. Yeah, sure, there's some bizarre exception, but the exception proves the rule. And I watched a good movie last night before I went to bed. Old noir. Every Thursday night, one of our local broadcast channels, over the air channels, devotes Thursdays to old noir movies, which I love old noir, and ran across one that I had never seen before. It was an Edward G. Robinson movie with Orson Welles when he was still just an actor. It was called The Stranger. It was a good movie of Loretta Young. It was a good movie up until the very end. Some of these film noirs just slam the end together with a silly shootout that should never have happened like it did. And okay, but wow, they make great suspenseful movies back in those noir days. And I enjoyed that up until almost the very end. And it's, oh man, are we doing this again? Oh, well, maybe that's what the public wanted back then. And what does that have to do with anything here? Absolutely nothing. So again, you can do today's project on Windows 10 machine, Windows 11 machine works fine. I didn't test it on home editions, the command line option. So I don't know, but we'll see. You can try that for me. And on any Linux distro, we're doing command line on the Linux stuff. Where we've been and where we're going. Last week, we did 4 methods to securely wipe a hard drive, 2 that were designed to it and do a really good job of wiping it securely, and 2 of them that aren't as secure because they weren't really designed to do it, but they're utilities that we found a way, they. So the 2 utilities that are designed to wipe the contents of a Linux hard drive are shred and wipe. And the 2 utilities we looked at that weren't designed to do it, but can be used in a wiping capacity, DD, the disk duplicator, and bad blocks, the software that's designed to test the integrity of the blocks on your storage devices. All of those work on hard drives, SSDs, flash media, micro SD cards. They're really kind of cool. That was an objective for A+, I think it was 1102, dealing, recycle, reuse hard drives. What do you, and other equipment. So what do you do to, if you're getting rid of your hard drive, if you're selling it, if you're destroying it, what are some techniques? There are Windows techniques as well, and I didn't get into those. But they don't ask you for specific program names about that topic on the CompT exam. I just was there to illustrate something. Why the heck did I mention that? If you look at my notes, if you download my notes today, after my where we've been, it says then we get into the cat command. That was supposed to be deleted because we did that 2 weeks ago. So where are we going today? It's another CompTIA objective. It's from 220.1101 A+. It's 5.3 if you're following along closely. Given a scenario, troubleshoot and diagnose problems with storage drives and RAID arrays. So we're not going to do RAID arrays, but we're going to talk about how to test the health of an SSD or a hard drive using S.M.A.R.T. And S.M.A.R.T is always done as an acronym with, an abbreviation rather, with, no, it's an acronym. Periods between each letter, S.M.A. You get the idea. Stands for, excuse me, self-monitoring, analysis, and reporting technology. So that's something we definitely need to know about for the exam and for the real world. There's no particular tutorial about this. It struck me by lightning, like lightning, that, hey, you know, this would be a really good topic to talk about. Yeah, it's got an objective. And so I took what I knew and then I went and did some more research on it and wrote a presentation about it. All right, before I get into news, tricks, and techniques of the week, and I have a fair amount today. See if I missed anything. Who's posting what? Who's come in? Biggest Brent, for all that yammering, is the only one who posted anything, and he posted it as a response to Andre de Goyert. So back into news, tricks, and techniques of the week. So this is a reminder, if you missed the Mike Myers show last Wednesday, his AMA, he had on Steve Nicholson, his co-presenter, instructor, guru, funny guy, smart guy, awesome to listen to. He's just an all around, he's the guy you want to be friends with. He's, if he were older than you, he would be the older brother that you looked up to and worship. He's just a ton of fun. And we have more things going on with him. Anyways, so it was a really good show. And it was so good. After the show, the three of us got together and Mike said, I want you on again in short order. I want you on in 2 weeks. Well, that 2 weeks is going to be this coming Wednesday. So if you missed Steve a Wednesday ago, 2 Wednesdays ago, whatever it was, here's your chance to catch him for the first time. And if you caught him last time, you know how much fun he was to listen to. We're going to try and focus everybody into asking Steve particular questions. There was a couple of questions that did get asked that didn't get answered. I poked them up in the back channel, but they never got read or whatever. So if you posted a question when Steve was here last time and it didn't get answered, post it again this week, and I will be a little more aggressive in making sure that the question comes in front of the face of everybody who's on the air that day. So anyways, that's upcoming this Wednesday. Bring your 220 1100 series questions and anything else you want to talk about. Steve is accomplished. He's a professor. He's good with security and pen testing and cyber. So he's all over the boards, and please come and join him. Speaking of Mike's upcoming shows, yesterday I worked for 3 hours in the morning prepping this challenging simulation, and grabbed myself a little bit of lunch and then headed down to the office and tore down the studio that Mike was using in our offices and then delivered them to his home. And it was my sincerest desire to say, okay, here you go, you're on your own, because I didn't make any notes about what I unplugged from where. I tried to make it fairly obvious and tried to remember some things, but would have doubled the amount of time spent there. So I just unplugged stuff and boxed it up and took it to his house thinking, here you go, you're on your own. And no, come in, we're going to rebuild. So we spent the next couple hours rebuilding that studio in his living room. In the set, if you've seen him in the past, where he's got the black bookshelf behind him, and behind that is a wall of mirrors. That's where he's going to set up and do it again. So we got it functional. We got all the monitors working, and the switcher for Tullowood, if you're watching, we fired up the ATEM and got that all functional, and checked audio. And so it was functional when we left. There are some things that he's going to want to tweak. And our biggest challenge is the studio that we were in, the office, has lighting up the wazoo. And so, you know, it's a studio, we can light it. His living room does not share that attribute. And so I brought a ring light from the studio, and it didn't really help very much. It doesn't hurt, and it does help a little, but so he whipped out some video lights that he had in a closet, and we managed to find enough equipment to get one of them installed on a stand and lighting, and that was looking pretty good. The other one couldn't find the stand that he has for it, so we're experimenting with some fills and things like that. It's better. So I don't know if he's going to have that studio up and in use on his Monday show. He's got all weekend to work on it, but he's a busy guy. We'll see how it happens. But either way, very short order, you will see Mike on his hybrid studio from the office, but in his home. Other news, tricks, traps, and techniques. Patricia was the first one to point this out to me. It's all over the net since that time. But rest in peace, Peter Eckersley, PhD. Peter Eckersley was the founder of Let's Encrypt. There have been encryption certificate companies out there for a long time. Dun & Bradstreet is one, and the big C one, lost it. Anyways, and you will pay up the wazoo to get a certificate from them. And it used to be really important to get a certificate from a big name certificate issuer, because they do a check on who you are, and the website that you are is really, that you claim is really owned by you, before they'll issue a certificate. Well, everybody does that now, but for that privilege of being checked out by one of the big names, you had to cough up a lot of money annually to have one of their certificates. Well, Eckersley said, look, we're going to do checkups on everybody just like everybody else does, and we're going to give the certificate for free. Now, we'll give you a paid certificate if you don't want to re-up it frequently, every 3 months or every year or whatever it is. But so I had a Let's Encrypt certificate on my Pi-R² server for a very long time. And then I had a system crash, and when I got it back running, I didn't bother. Well, with the passing of Mr. Eckersley, Dr. Eckersley, I said to myself, you know what? When founders leave, board of directors look closely and say, let's do things a little bit differently. So I said, well, I better re-up my certificate in the Pi-R² server. And so I did that. It took minutes, 2, 3, 4 minutes, something like that. I started following one tutorial and it failed. I was like, what's going on? I couldn't grab a repository, and I didn't remember using an external third-party repository last time I did it. But all right, I'm just going to let this park here for a minute. And I let it sat for 2 or 3 days, and then I said, all right, let's go take a look around and see if there is a better way. I'm not looking for a tutorial. I'm just looking for the documents that describe how you do this, how Let's Encrypt wants you to do it. And I found one, and it was all of 2 steps. One of them, you got to answer some questions in there so you can get checked out. And since I'd already had one, I've been checked out before, and they were able to pull up my old numbers and records and issue me a new certificate. So it happened very quickly, but it would take anybody just about the same amount of time to get a Let's Encrypt certificate. And if you want that, I was debating doing a show on it, but it would take 10 minutes with all my background yammering. So I don't know. So if you wanted to install a certificate, a free Let's Encrypt certificate on your Apache web server on your Raspberry Pi, just kick me off a note, send it to daver@totalsem.com or drushtx@yahoo.com, and I'll send you the link. And you can do that. It's quick and easy and painless, and you too can have an HTTPS server, which again is what the my accessible server is. And I think I'll repost that link right now. It's over here, and it's up here. There we go. Pi-R² server. And the script that they use to set this up, if you're using Apache, automatically sets up redirection. So if somebody tries to connect to your server using HTTP, it will be redirected as an HTTPS call. And the one thing that I want to warn you, if you try and follow this along, it tells you exactly to do this. But if you just want to try and make this up on your own, it's no real big deal. What you have to do is, before you start the process, port forward both port 80 and port 443 to your internal web server. I can't say I had a problem with that. I did it in advance, worked fine, but I read some other notes from other people as I was doing research, excuse me, and couldn't figure out why it wouldn't work. All right, last thing. That's interesting. No, there's a typo. If you download today's notes, it says there's more. There's always a typo, at least one. Much to my surprise, no R. All right. Last bit of news, I think. Is there anything else after this one? Yeah, I know it's a long one. No, okay. The other day, I was prepping for show, and every Tuesday or so, I update and upgrade all my Raspberry Pis in-house. And I did this the other day, last Tuesday. I did it on Tuesday morning, and they went just peachy. And it was a little bit hefty. Like, I always expect a couple of things in a minute or two, but this took a little bit longer. But okay, so it's all done. And then 2 days later, I'm doing some development for an upcoming presentation. And whenever you add new software, new packages, you should always do an update at least before you install the new stuff. And I always do an update upgrade. So here it was 2 days later. So I did an update upgrade, and I expected to see either nothing or one or two tiny changes. And no, holy Hannah, it was a 25-minute or so update upgrade. And I said to myself, I said, Self, what's going on? I just did a large upgrade 2 days ago. So out online and discovered something that I don't check every day all the time. Raspberry Pi has updated Raspberry Pi OS. It's a big update. And so I got that whole update, and I haven't updated all my Pis yet to deal with that. But here's what happens when you do your next update upgrade, or what you're going to get new when you do a new fresh install of Raspberry Pi OS. First and foremost, stuff that you probably don't really care about unless you're really deep in the Linux field. They've updated the Linux kernel. It's still a 5.15 kernel or 5.1 kernel. So I'm not going to give you the sub number on that. They have enhanced the desktop environment, the Pixel environment. It's got a new main menu plugin panel that has text search capability. That's kind of cool. New network plugin. Okay, let's talk about this one for a second. When you set up your Raspberry Pi server, your Raspberry Pi host, to be a DHCP server or to be a DHCP client, it has historically used a configuration file called dhcpconf. And there are other versions of Linux that do that. However, that is becoming old school. And the new technique is Network Manager. It's a new app. It's a new process. And so what's going on now is this new Raspberry Pi OS now includes Network Manager, so it can join everybody else that's updating to that new technology. And it is by default disabled. So you can still use the old methodology and switch over at your convenience. That's not going to last forever. They're going to eventually pull out the capability to support the old DHCPconf, and you're going to have to use Network Manager. And I encourage you to start learning to do this update and upgrade and switch to Net Manager. I will be doing that this weekend, all alone between guitar riffs. There's a new separate audio input plugin that features microphone volume and input select. Okay, that's nice. But there's another piece. I get notes down further on it. Oh, yeah. The audio system in the Raspberry Pi operating system is one that you set, and then whatever you set is what applications have to use. If you're not happy with this app using that one, you got to close the app, change the audio system, and then fire up the app again. And whichever one is fired up and running is the one that it uses. Well, they fixed that finally. The app can now choose from the various installed audio systems, audio playback systems that you have in your system. There are new keyboard shortcuts to open up Wi-Fi and Bluetooth plugins. Yay, instead of having to use your mouse and go to the upper right-hand corner and right-click on the network settings, you can just keyboard shortcut to them. That's kind of useful. Updated notifications displayed with a short delay after startup and between each one. There's more. I'm not going to read all this to you. Download my notes from pirsquare.zapto.org. You can see them all. And there's a link. In fact, I will post this link for you right now on where you can go and read about all of the updates. Really, I will. There it is. Okay, click that, show notes. Over other useful links, S.M.A.R.T. Oh, okay. That's all right. I have it here. Let's call it this way. Stop it. Full details on new RPi OS features. Okay, posted at whatever time it is right now. It is 55 minutes past the hour. All right, so that completes us. News and tricks and techniques of the day. Let's check any posts, and then we'll come in and start with our contest for today. It's a challenging one. It's going to be from Security Plus. It'll be multiple choice though, so you got a 1 in 4 chance of getting it right. All right, let's see what I missed here. Tell it, it's all smoke and mirrors and A10 Mini Pros. Yeah. No smoke at Mike's house. Dumped that many years ago. Got hooked on Nicorette for many, 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 many years, and finally dumped that. Blue Lantern is back, taking 10:01 tomorrow. Good luck, Blue Lantern. Looking forward to come in on Monday and give us your report back your results. And if you don't make it on Mike's show Monday or Wednesday, then come back on my show on Friday and let us know. But good luck, my friend. Very pleased to hear it. Telewit, I'm organizing the plethora of wires under my desk. Oh man, I should have taken pictures of the wiring spaghetti monster that we left in Mike's studio when I walked out the door. It should be illegal in 13 states. Andre, my guess is it looks like up in the false ceiling of the facility you were working on the last couple of days. All right. Hey, feel like a contest? I feel like a contest. We got plenty of people here to contest. Here's the deal on the contest today. Anybody can play. If I see a winning answer and you've won a lot, I'm going to go look for somebody else who hasn't won as much as you. If I don't find somebody, then I'm going to pick you. So everybody can play. Don't even think about passing. If you're going to try and pass, don't bother to play because you're a winner. Okay, and it's just too hard for me to go figure out and find the second place winner and get all that. You are gonna win it if you win. So what the deal is here, 1 entry per person on today's contest. I'm going to give you 4 choices to type in the answers. And there's no ABCD. Don't post in though. Just type in one of the answers from the choices to do that. Previous winners are eligible. And what are we playing for? 90-day access to any total tester practice test. So look, if you won in the past and you don't need any, get one anyways. Get one from something totally different that you haven't considered participating in. Maybe AWS system architecture, something like that. Just to pique your interest, go take a look at some of the questions. You know, maybe you hate it and you'll never look again. Or maybe you say, hey, there's something possibly interesting here. Maybe I'll go and find some study materials and learn a little bit about that. That this is something that's kind of happened to me. I signed up for a pen testing course because it cost $1. Man, I am enjoying it. I am now seeing what so many of you who are playing red team, blue team, purple team, and pen testing and CEH are finding so interesting and so fascinating. And I'm just having a great time with this course. No, it's not available for $1 right now, but if and when they become available again, there was 4 courses I signed up for and I finished one of them and I'm doing the second one. Then I will make that information available to you, probably on the Discord channel. It's where I usually post that stuff, but here is not impossible. And I've been told that they have special sales on them at the end of the year. They sell basically coupons or certificates or whatever. And if that turns out to be the case, and I will be in touch with the site owner operator here in the next week or so. I will see if he will sell me or sponsor us and get some of those courses as giveaways. We may not be able to give away vouchers, but maybe we can get some people signed up in his courses. A huge, huge collection of courses over there. Take a look. It's over at TCM-sec. I'm not sure if the website is tcm-sec.com or tcmsec.com, but just look it up, TCM security in your favorite search engine, you'll find it. All right, let's get back to this contest. So I'm going to post a question with 4 answer choices. Answer one time, post one possible response, and winner gets a free practice test of whatever we've got, whatever we offer at Total Seminars. So let's go. And that was there. All right, there's the question slide. Now we put it up with the share screen button. Here it is. All right, you ready? This is from Security Plus. It's a little challenging, but if you studied or are studying for Sec Plus, this is something you're going to learn and something you got to know for the exam. Here we go. Share. All right, this is a multiple choice question. Choose a single answer from this SY0601 question. Type in the correct answer in the YouTube chat. Don't say A, B, C, or D. Type in the answers. So the question is, which of the following is a framework that acts as a knowledge base of techniques used by hackers? Your answer choices are COOP, curl, which really should have been done as CURL. No, it's not. I'm sorry, it is CURL. Mitre, I don't know if that's a typo or not. I copied and pasted this, so it could be a typo. We'll call it MITRE ATT&CK. And MDM, which of them is a framework that acts as a knowledge base of techniques used by hackers? All right, I'll leave that up and I'll go look at people who have not yet posted answers. I got nothing, not even a guess out there yet, huh? That's all right. I can read up old questions and posts while they're happening. Reading questions here. Thanks, Dave. I missed most of the live, but I'll be rewatching once I get to work. Okay, that's cool. Andre's got to spend some time under his desk. He's got some wiring challenges there, taking up a lot of room. Don Odinga's back. Long time no. Don Odinga, don't ever do that. Don't ask if you can ask. This is a give and take. You don't have to raise your hand. If you got a question on DNS, post your question on DNS. Not yelling at you, just saving us all some grief. You post questions. And if I miss your question, you know, I do the time marks here. Just note what time the time mark was that you posted it, and you'll find out if I missed it, and then you can post it again. Okay. If Dave doesn't get your question, join us on Discord. And Thibodeau says curl. No, Thibodeau. There are 2 kinds of curl in the world. One has capitalized C and that's your answer. You're putting that in as an answer. Okay. Or maybe not. I don't know, but it's fair enough as an answer. I got 3 people who have posted guesses so far. Andre, what in the heck are you doing? I deleted that. Goodness gracious. I will explain that to you in Discord later, but I mean, if it's not obvious to you. All right, Don, I'm going to answer your question once we get done with this contest. How do you configure DNS using a VMware console? That is not a DNS question. That's a VMware question. The question is, what operating system are you using in VMware? And that's what you're going to do to configure DNS. The hypervisor doesn't care about DNS. It's not something that you can figure. Now, I'm not a VMware guru, so maybe there's something wacky about VMware that's different than Hyper-V and certainly VirtualBox and KMU and Proxmox. None of those have anything to do with DNS. So I don't know what VMware has to do with DNS. So it should be something that you do within the instance running under the VMware console. Okay. I got 3 guesses. Come on. Even if you've won before, give me a guess. I'm not going to do this for 3 people. If we get 3 posts today, I will stop doing contests in the future. That's ridiculous. Reading comments and questions. Okay, Earl's your guess. Cole Maki is here. You guys, practice tests with Jason, Dion, and Professor Messer were great. Okay, I'm glad. We are very proud of our practice tests. We put a lot of effort into researching them so that they are relevant and useful to preparing for the exam. You know, we don't make the sums that are too similar so we get in trouble with CompTIA. We certainly don't duplicate them. But if you go through our practice test questions and you can answer to yourself why the right answer is right and why all the wrong answers are wrong, and you can do that for 95% of the questions that you answer in our practice test questions, you're going to do well on the test. The only reason that you're not going to do well on the test after that is because of nerves. You got testitis. But our test questions are very, very good. They are spot on. They are under constant review. They are under constant addition as we get feedback, not about questions, but about things that CompTIA tests. Then we add questions into our database. All right. I got 4 answers here. I'm going to go with that. I'm not doing a contest next week. Sorry. That's just killing way too much time here to put all this up. I have a winner. Let me go post my paperwork in my winnings. Oh man, I was dumb there. I didn't have my ducks in a row. Oh well, it's not the first time. So let me post the answer first up here on the screen. So the correct answer is a MITRE attack, and that is on purpose with the ampersand. It's a publicly available knowledge base of common techniques used by hackers to attack systems, which can be checked out and in further detail at that website. And I'm going to post these wrong answers and their explanations for you to read while I take care of the rest of the paperwork here. Our winner is the only person who posted MITRE attack, and that's Andre de Goyert. Congratulations, Andre. I know you're not working on anything in particular at the moment, but pick up a practice test of something that's going to interest you in the future. I think you mentioned one of the ones you're going to work on in the future, and I have forgotten. I apologize. So Andre de Goyert posted up here on the YouTube chat is how to claim your winnings. You have won in the past. Excuse me. Here's all the info on how to do it again. And so COOP, continuity of operations planning, has nothing to do with attack frameworks. Curl is a program to transfer, so it should have been your lowercase URL used to transfer programs, typically from websites. Programs, data, contents, whatever. Here comes again. I missed it. Beg your pardon. And mobile device management is the technology used to manage mobile devices. So it was none of those. Did I post the, yeah, it's over here. So Andre de Goyert, to gather your winnings, send an email to me at davertold7.com. Put 4 fields in the body of the email. You've heard this before: your YouTube name, your real name, email address you want us to send access to, and which practice test number that you want total tester for. So I don't want the name of the total tester because their names don't match the practice test, and I don't know what to do with that. But if I tell our person who handles this that Andre wants something for Security Plus 601, SY0601, they will know which product that should be. All right. I might change my mind and do a contest next week, but that's disheartening. Don Odinga also got it right. It's interesting. I'm doing a search here for Don Odinga It did not appear on my feed at all. Let me check this. I'll do a search here. Odinga. Hello, question on DNS, Andre to him. Oh, he did get it right. He did get it right. And he beat you to it. Don Odinga, you win also. Don Odinga, congratulations. I'm going to do 2 winners today. So let me get that in the notes. That's good because there was no show on Monday. So Mike didn't do a giveaway on Monday. So second winner, Don Odinga. All right, make notes on that. And Don Odinga, I'm going to post. Just go look up Don Odinga at the post I did for Andre at 7 minutes past the hour, and send me those 4 pieces of information that Andre is going to send. And congratulations to you both. I'm very sorry I missed that. Good catch. Knew it wasn't MDM. It's the only one I remember. Yeah, I saw your co-op, your coop. I'm so sorry. Something dusty. We've been doing a little bit of construction on the house, and as far as repairs go, it's a long, long way to go, but it does make everything dusty in here. I took out a keyboard. I should get right onto the project, but I got a moment. I took out a keyboard to do Sims shooting the other day. It was my kid's gaming keyboard, and it's on the desk that he used to have here in our office with it. So it's a gaming keyboard. It's clicky and it's loud and it's fun. And I plugged it in and I started typing, and about every third letter that I typed was happened. And I'd hold down the A key and I'd bang on it, and eventually an A would appear on screen, and I'll hold it down for a long time and nothing would happen. And then suddenly a bunch of A's. So I whipped out a can of compressed air and blew out each individual key. Because of all the construction dust around here, it just became a dust magnet. Should have had it in a drawer or a bag or something like that. Now it works. So important real world lessons for everyone. I knew it wasn't as Cole Mackey. It was on the 19th. I think it took last month. I remember I was coming in and it was a Thursday, so it was on a weird day. I am missing the front end of that, but that's right. So you both won. Weird timing back then. So I did get back to you and let you know how I did on core 1. Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that. All right, TD Wash, congrats. Cole Mackey, one time Mike opened a stream with tea in a wine glass. Mike is a fine wine drinker. I don't believe you will catch him doing that during the day. All right. Well, let's get on today's project then. Let me go find my notes. There they are. And we're going to talk about S.M.A.R.T, S-M-A-R-T, self-monitoring analysis and reporting technology. And it's an objective. We've got to know how to troubleshoot and diagnose problems with storage devices in, I think it's 1102. Don't have a tutorial for this one, though I do have some websites that are going to be of interest as we go. Oh, it's 1101. So what do I need to play with S.M.A.R.T? Well, you need a running computer, a Windows machine, 10 or 11, possibly 7. Certainly 7 if you want to use the third-party utility that I'm going to be talking about, which is called Crystal Disk Info. But I don't know if the command line thing that I'm going to show you in Windows today existed in Win 7. I just never tried. And I'm going to show you how to do it from the command line in a Linux system using, of course, a Raspberry Pi. So all modern hard drives, and by that I mean for at least the last 12 years or so, maybe longer, have a technology built into them called S.M.A.R.T. And what S.M.A.R.T does is it's an internal monitoring process in hard drives and SSDs that has this list of things, processes that it watches, failures that it watches. And there are failures that happen inside storage devices that are completely okay. This is bad. This sector went bad. That's right. I'll just mark it out. You still have billions and billions of sectors left, and we'll just never use that one again. So that's what S.M.A.R.T does. It tracks all of these functions and features inside your storage device. Dang it. I'm so sorry. I got to get rid of this dust. Oh, goodness. But there's a downside to it. While it's called a monitoring system and reporting system, it reports it to some non-volatile memory inside the storage device. It doesn't have a method of proactively communicating whatever it detects to the operating system that it's working in or to a user. And so in order to make S.M.A.R.T work for us, we have to periodically go and check the S.M.A.R.T statistics with a program that can query the drive, the device, and say, hey, show me what information you have collected about failures in the hard drive. Now, there's kind of a way, I don't get into this in this presentation today, but there's kind of a way to do that. You could have it set up so that it automatically runs it. In the case of Linux, on a cron job, every, I don't know, 30 days, 90 days, whatever, you have a cron job execute a S.M.A.R.T check and issue the and then run a check or run a report that shows you that. You could kind of do that in Windows by running your S.M.A.R.T utility as a startup routine, or in one of the, as a scheduled event. There's a task scheduler in there, but it is generally a passive process, and that's its big fault, if there is. So S.M.A.R.T allows us in some systems to even set thresholds on tracked telemetry. So don't make a report, don't save anything in the flash memory until or unless this threshold is exceeded. What kind of thresholds? Maybe it's an internal drive temperature. Maybe it's a minimum rotational speed. All kinds of things. I'm going to show you a huge list of things that it's going to track here shortly. So there are S.M.A.R.T reader and tester tools that are available that are graphical, and there are command line ones, of course. The big player in Windows as a graphical tool is a program called, no spaces, Crystal Disk Info. It comes from an organization called Crystal S.M.A.R.T, and I've got a download site for you here. Let me put it as a shared post, and then I'll stick it in the YouTube chat feed. Share screen over here. So to download Crystal Disk Info, go to crystalmark.info, whack N for English, software, Crystal Disk Info. That'll take you to a download page, and then you can pick a Windows version of it, or a Linux version, or a Mac version. I've seen all of those there. And here, let me post that. I'll just copy and paste here in the YouTube chat feed. This is non-destructive. You can use this safely anytime, won't hurt anything. All right, so let's give it a run. I'll fire it up and then I'll share it with you. Crystal Disk Info. There it is. No, that's a document. Where's the program? That was the one thing I said, I'm going to sit down before I get started today and remember where this was. I certainly ran it a whole bunch last week. And now I can't find it. Crystal Mark. I didn't write down where it is in my system. What an idiot. What an incredible, stunning idiot. All right, well, it's probably over in downloads. That's where everything is. I keep everything there. I'm terrible. But it's installed, so it should be, whatever. Let's see. Crystal. It's doing very weird things. Okay, there is the folder. How old is this? Okay, this has been around. I updated this. Why can't I get at it? Crystal Gale. All right, I'll just run the reinstaller again and see what. Oh, you know what? Did I put it on my desktop? Because I can't see my desktop right now, of course. Let's go to desktop. Oh, I'm sorry. This was going to be a 10 show. Check storage device, desktop. Click here. No, I didn't save it there. All right. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to download a fresh one and reinstall it and let it warn me that I've already got the old one in there. And I may be able to share the installation with you. Oh, heck, let's just go to that one on. No, let's do it. Now I'm changing my mind. That's a stupid thing to do. Website, Crystal Disk Info. Over on Crystal Mark download. I probably already have that set up in one of my. There we go. I'm sorry. Standard edition download. I don't want a zip. I don't want a Vista installer. I don't want XP. 2022 manual history, standard edition download. I just did this the other. It's just one of those days, kids. Fine, to heck with that. Let's do an alternative. Let's go to that folder I had open in downloads. I am just making a royal mess of things. All right, let's install this one. Maybe this is just a direct run. Maybe that's my problem, is it's not installed. There we go. Okay. That's it. You don't install it. You just run it. There's a 64-bit version and a 32-bit version. Let me share this. We're back in business. Sorry about that. Share. Okay, so this is Crystal Disk Info. I only have one storage device in here that supports S.M.A.R.T. What happens when Crystal Disk and any other utility like that runs? It scans all of your devices, flash drives, your micro SD cards, your SSDs, your traditional SATA drives, whatever. And then if you have more than one that supports S.M.A.R.T, it'll give you a list to pick from. In my case, this hard drive only has one, or this computer only has one device that supports S.M.A.R.T. It's a terabyte Samsung 860 Evo. And so here is some of the common features that are researched here. And this looks bad. It looks like, wait a minute, it's got a threshold of 10, and it's currently got 100 reallocated sector counts. No, that means it's got to happen 10 times before we worry about that. How many hours has this thing been powered on? 96 hours? been powered on a lot more than that. So it's not always 100%. It's got an internal temperature. This is what we're going to direct regular users toward. The general health status of it is good. And I'm going to give you a list of the other possibilities that could possibly appear here. Now with this utility, if your hard drive supports it, you can change the thresholds. Some can, some can't. But I'm just looking at these errors in here, and then this is no problem. Also, I kind of care about this total host writes. If it's an SSD, you can only do so many writes before sectors start failing. So this is a terabyte drive. It's good for about 100,000 writes for each memory cell. So I've got about 31,000 writes. There's 31,000 gigabytes on here. So this thing is about a third of its way through its life before it starts encountering significant failures. Does that make sense? And you can get firmware information and all kinds of other information if your utility supports it. Now, there are some devices that have proprietary tracked elements that Crystal Disk Info doesn't know about. In that case, you've got to get the S.M.A.R.T reader directly from the company so it can track the specific stuff that it's looking at. All right, Crystal Disk Info. You just download it, unzip it, and then you run the program directly from the file. It does, from the folder that you unzipped it into. It doesn't get installed or anything like that. All right, let me close that. I'm going to go down a road here. I'll keep this light, but built into PowerShell in Windows 10 and Windows 11 is a program, a command line program called WNIC. And I asked the book writing team the other day if, sorry, WMIC, if they included anything in the book about WMIC, and I got an instantaneous no, and no explanation or anything behind there. So first of all, I'm going to post something on the YouTube chat field. This is a site that is a list of other sites that talk about various WMIC commands and has examples of them. So this site doesn't teach you how to use WMIC or what it is or what it does, but it takes you to a whole bunch of sites. It's an index site that does that. WMIC is a command line query tool that can be used to query all kinds of hardware inside your computer. Disk drives, network interface cards, video cards, lots of goodies like that. So let me open up a command interface and share it with you. You can do this with regular CMD, it'll work. You don't need to run this in admin mode. I was very surprised to discover that. Just checking something here. Okay, good. I typed in clear, CLS. Stop it, CLS. All right, so let's share that. So this is just a regular command prompt. I don't even have to go into PowerShell to do this. And the first simplest thing that I can do with WMIC I'm copying and pasting rather than type it in so you can see all my typing errors, is WMIC, and then the device that we're doing queries on, and then the specific query. So here's a real simple one, get status. And the status is okay. That's it. And it's the same thing as we saw in the health there. It was okay. Other possibilities that you might see from a S.M.A.R.T output are bad, caution, or unknown. So okay is always good. And if you just run this periodically, once a month, once every 3 months, it'll give you some warning, hopefully, particularly with a caution to say, oh man, I got to be backing this thing up. The problem with this is if I have more than one device in here that supports disk drive status, I do. There's a flash drive plugged into here, and there's my SSD. I don't know which of these is which. So this isn't just a S.M.A.R.T request. It uses S.M.A.R.T if it can, but it uses its own query tools when necessary. Now, let me show you something really ugly that we can do. How about WMIC disk drive without any parameters after it? This is going to be ugly. Look out. All right. Now, if you were to stretch that all out onto a really wide open terminal session, these would all be headers and have values underneath each header, and it would make a lot more sense. So we've got to kind of pull these apart. Now you could save this as a text file. I could redirect that out to file.txt and then use my favorite text editor to review it and put appropriate columns and things like that. That'll help. Otherwise, you got to do a little bit of studying on WMIC and find out some of the commands that we can use with get. For instance, how about something like, well, we did get status. How about get serial number? So there's my two devices. I still don't know which is which, but if I look those up, I would pretty easily figure out which one was my flash drive and which one was the real hard drive. How about get size? Now I know that's a terabyte, and that's 16 gigabytes, roughly. And just for fun, let me show you a couple other things that you can do with WMIC. Has nothing to do with hard drives, but it's quick and it's easy. And these are just some demos. How about WMIC on a network interface card, NIC? Only tell me about NICs that are enabled, where net enabled is true, and then give me their name and their speed. So it's querying all of my network interface cards in here. It found one in my virtual box that's always active. Can't help it there. Its speed is a gigabit. And then here's my actual wired controller, my Realtek. And that's a gigabit. And I'll show you two others here real quick. And then an ugly one. And then we're done with playing Windows. How about WMIC NIC get adapter type? So this is going to look at all of the adapter types that I have in there, my wireless ones, my wired ones. Hey, good golly, they're all 802.3 Ethernet. Sure. How about a full list of all my network interface cards? List full. And that tells me every little factoid about every network interface card that's installed here. Yeah, there's a lot because I have a lot of virtual machines and a lot of other goodies. Again, I can send it to a file and filter that. Gets kind of fun. Now, if you do something really raw, you want to know everything there is to know about every NIC, then we do the same thing as we did with hard drive. We said WMIC disk drive and got that really ugly output with every fact. I can do the same thing with network interface cards. All right, so that's WMIC. Cool thing. And did I post the link for? Yes. Yes, I did. I posted the link. All right, good. The nice thing about WMIC is not just to use it as a command line to find out facts, but you can use this in script and use that to use your scripts to pull out particular pieces of text and fields and things like that that you want. And that makes some really useful script work. How are we doing here time-wise? 33. Okay, I got about 10 more minutes of presentation to do this on the Raspberry Pi from the Linux side, and that winds us up. So we're in great shape on time here. Crystal Disk is available for Linux. There are other utilities, Crystal Disk Info, that are also smart readers available for Windows and available for Linux. I want to show you, because it is the nature of our show here, how to get this same kind of information using the command line. Is there anything else that I need up on this page? No, I can get rid of all that junk, free up some space. So let me make a connection, an SSH connection. We'll use putty pi at drama is a good one. Drama.local. I did that presentation on Avahi a couple of weeks ago, and I got it installed and running on every machine. I don't have to use my, I seldom have to use IP addresses anymore. I can do everything with names. Pajama, password is Raspberry, Raspberry. All right, there's a putty session. Let's share it with everybody. That's just the kind of guy that I am. All right, so I'm in my server in my Linux host. It's called Drama. And it's whining at me that I've never changed the password and I have SSH. Yeah, I know, it's okay. So there is a program called S.M.A.R.T Control, S.M.A.R.T CTL, that can query smart drives that have smart built within them. And if we run it, it doesn't work. That's because it's not included in every distro, including in the current Raspberry Pi OS distro. But good news, it's in the repository. It's about a 20-second install. And as with everything, we start with sudo apt update. I'm not going to do it. I did it this morning, so I'm current. And who knows if if Raspberry Pi did something between then and now, we could be sitting here for 20 minutes waiting for that to finish. So we'll take it on faith that I did a sudo apt update. So what I've got to do to get S.M.A.R.T Control is to install a package called SmartMon Tools. So we'll sudo apt install SmartMon Tools. And if you're a Red Hat distro user, you can do this with DNF instead of apt. Tools is plural, yeah. Okay, about 20 seconds or so. I've installed and uninstalled this so many times in the last week that I'm confident that it'll be perfect, which is every reason that it will fail. All right, once installed. So once it finishes the installation here, a little hung up there, it should have been done by now, but we'll see what terrible see. That's what happens when I start doing creative things. Once we get it installed, we're going to just test it out with a simple short test. There are short tests, there are long tests, there are specific tests. Come on. All right, well, let me talk about it. A couple weeks ago, last week, wasn't a couple weeks ago, when we did wipe disks, some of the utilities can wipe disks just by wiping a particular file or by wiping a particular folder, maybe a tree structure from a particular folder on down. Some of them, therefore, can wipe out an entire disk by just specifying the root folder and letting it do the whole tree. But other utilities, they want to wipe out a device. And so I've got to find out what devices I have installed in my computer so I can refer to them by their correct name. And the utility that we use to do that is called lsblock. It's one word and no O, LSBLK. And if this thing ever finishes, that's the first thing we're going to run. We're going to get a list of the devices that are installed, the storage devices that are installed here. While I'm vamping and waiting, I should mention that modern hard drives, modern SSDs, they all have built-in S.M.A.R.T. However, flash drives, as mentioned before, micro SD cards, flash thumb drives, things like that, they don't. Now, I was doing some experimenting with this. I took a flash drive and plugged it into the USB, wondering, wait, would that be okay if I try to run S.M.A.R.T queries on there? There we go. It's finally catching up. Wondering if it could reach out through the USB port. And the answer was yes, it reached out and said, but here's your problem. This thing doesn't support S.M.A.R.T. Okay, well, good to know, because I've got a hard drive that I installed to the USB ports on this thing. So let's start with finding out what devices we have in here, LSBLK. And this thing says I have 2 devices in here, SDA, which means a SATA device. It's the first SATA device. It's SATA device A. If I have another SATA hard drive in here or SATA SSD, it would be SDB. And then it's got a single partition in there, SDA1. We're going to work with devices, not partitions. It also has a single micro SD card in it, MMC block 0, partition 1, which is the boot partition, and partition 2, which is everything else, the root partition. If we look up here at SDA, it says 232 gigs. So that's not kibibytes, it's kilobytes. In kibibytes, that would be 256 gigs. Other way around, this is kibibytes. And I could change that into human. It doesn't matter. All right, so we got SDA. Now, here again is a real ugly twist on using the command line. What you have to do when you use a command line SMART test in Linux is you have to run the test. And the test will tell you when you launch it how long the test is going to take. And you've got to sit there and twiddle your thumbs until the test is complete. And then when it's complete, it won't show you the results. You have to wait for the completion, and then you have to run another SMART control command to read the results of the test. Now, before I do that, I want to do one other thing here. We did LS block to check this out. We can have SMART control do a scan, and it will only report devices that support SMART. So let's try. You got to do all these with sudo SMART CTL -- scan. And it says, I found one device that supports SMART. It's whack dev, whack SDA. So that's the device name. The name is SDA. The device name is dev SDA. And it says it's a SATA device, but notice that the MMC block, the micro SD card, didn't appear. So that's the one that I'm going to test on. It's quick, it's painless. So we're going to do a short test. A short test on this particular drive takes about 2 minutes. So, oh, and by the way, if you try and run SMART control without sudo, I'll show you. Sudo SMART control -T, that's the test. And then we specify short, and then we identify the device we're going to test, whack dev, whack SDA. We're going to get this really cryptic message about a failure, and the failure doesn't really tell you what the failure is. Oh, I know what's going on, why that's so bloody slow. Sorry about that. It's just this cryptic message that you can fix by running it with sudo. Oh, I ran sudo SMART control. Never mind. I should have said SMART control without sudo. All right, so we're burning 2 minutes here. We're actually waiting for it to say this is going to take 2 minutes. So this is a really old hard drive. I pulled it out of a drawer the other day, plugged it in, and I hear it click every now and again and wake up. So I think it's going to sleep and coming back to life. And that's where this delay is coming from. That's what I get for not having a new drive, but at least it finally found it. So when this finishes, then I'm going to do another command to read the results. And the command is interesting. It's SMART control space -H whack dev whack SDA. And that will read the results that were determined and saved by the test we're doing right now. Not surprisingly, there is a long test, and I haven't run a long test on here. I have no idea how long it'll take for that 256 gig drive. I don't think it will take longer to do a 20 gig long test, a long test on a 20 gig drive than it takes to do on a 250 gig hard drive, because it doesn't test the whole disk. It doesn't perform SMART. SMART is active inside the system. I think it just takes a little longer to query all of the SMART parameters that get tested. What can I do here? Okay, so while we're waiting for that, I took a, it failed. I think the hard drive is biting the dust, but the good news on that, I'm going to show you what will happen here after we run the test, after we wait 2 minutes, and then we run this command, sudo, it may even remember, it may have saved it as a file, smart_ctl -h whack dev whack sda. I'm not going to run it because if the hard drive is falling asleep, we're going to wait that long call again, but I'll show you the results that it generated. So how about we just do nano here, and let me copy paste this. All right, and this is exactly what comes up when you run that results command. So it tells me what version of Smart Control we ran, and that it's a local version, because that's one of the interesting things you can do with Smart Control. You can say, hey, go run it on a remote system over there. All you got to do is provide credentials over there. Smart status wasn't supported. That wasn't here. Oh, the smart status wasn't reported. That means it could get, with a short test, it doesn't get all of the individual parameters. If we do a long test, we would get that. So then we did get an overall health self-assessment, and it was passed, and warning, it's based on an attribute check. But that's what the command looks like, or what the results look like on a real actual hard drive. So let's get out of that. Control X, no, don't save it. I did do all this morning. It did all work this morning, but I think I'm going to scrap that hard drive this week and get a new shiny drive in there. I want to show you 2 ways to run the test in short or long using different parameters. So one of them, instead of saying -t space short or long, you can say -- test equals long. Or you can do what we did earlier, make this short or long with a single -t, short or long, and then specify the device. If you want to see other things that you can do with Smart Control, it gets hefty and long and involved. How about Smart Control -help? This is one of those ones that isn't -help. It's -help. So in fact, right off the bat, there's our -- test equals long. Further up, we can see it as a minor lowercase -lowercase t. Yeah, you can hunt for it. Lots and lots and lots and lots of flags are available with this. And of course, there's man pages for this. Man Smart Control gives me a lot more information. It goes through less, so I can do page up and page down. And I can do search, -t. Manual page, line 17. Oh, okay, that wasn't the one I wanted. That's the next one, -t. Run -t, time behavior, but we can do this forever, huh? I missed it. All right, Q to quit out of it. Stop it. There we go. All right, what else was here? Oh, -a. Now you can use Smart Control to do non-smart testing of other testable devices. So how about an LS block? And let's try sudo Smart Control -a whack dev whack MMC block 0. And so it ran the test, unable to detect device type, but it still ran the test. And it says, hey, you want to get results? Do the -H to get a usage summary. So, okay, sudo smart control -H on, well, yeah, we got to do the whack dev whack mmc block 0. I didn't test this in advance. We had a list of track data and things that can't be tested. I think it's just upset about that other hard drive because I did all of these tests at some point and no soap. So again, if I want to do this in a proactive fashion instead of reactive, I could make a cron job out of this. We've done a little bit on cron jobs a couple times in previous presentations. Let's do this. How about cron tab -E using nano. And then I might put an entry in here that shows every 3 months on the first day, I don't care what time or what hour or year, and then run a command, sudo smart control -T space long, whatever parameters in there. And then I'll put in fact, I'd probably do that as a script. I would call a script in here. The script would have the smart control command in there. Then it would have a wait command for the longest time of a test that I would expect. Might be 30 minutes, might be an hour, whatever the case may be. And then in the script, the last line would be to run the results viewer, the smart control -H device. And that makes this a proactive thing. So once a month, you'll see pop up on your screen, on a command screen anyways, or you could put it to a file and have that file get automatically put on your screen, whatever. There's lots of possibilities. You didn't see that. I had unshared already. I want you to see that again. Cron tab. The first time you run cron tab in a system, I've never run one in here, you'll be prompted for what kind of editor you want to use. I selected nano, so I don't get to make that choice again. But in here, I would make a line that shows something like, not day of month, month. So I might say 0. Nah. Oops. Yeah. I don't want to do month. Day of week. How about this one? How about 0, 0, any day of month, and day of week, every Sunday. Saturday is 0, Sunday is 6. And then I would put the name of my script into here. Run smart.sh. And then I would have to make a script called run smart.sh, make it executable, and put 3 lines in there. One that ran the smart command, one that waited, and one that displayed the results. So that's smart. Complete with Dave errors. Sorry about that. It wasn't poor planning. It was a failure, and I paid for it. Well, one of them was poor planning, the stupid crystal disk. So we looked at smart viewers that are available for Windows, Linux, and Mac. That was Crystal Disk Info. We looked at a command line that's available in Windows, the WMIC command, and the command line available in Linux, SmartCTL, which we don't have by default until you do a sudo apt install smartmon tools. And once you've got that, now we can be proactive. Now, you should be proactive all the time, of course, when it comes to storage. We should be backing up our data, making image backups, making complete backups, clone disks, or at least backing up through backup utilities, through rsync, through simple copying, whatever makes you happy, that critical data, because even with S.M.A.R.T, there are catastrophic failures that are going to happen, and S.M.A.R.T can't pick them up always in advance. So you've got to be backed up. But S.M.A.R.T can help you at least have an idea when a failure might be in things that are saying show caution or stuff like that. All right, let's check last questions. No posts, that's cool. Oh, wait a minute. I was in self scroll here. Oh, wow. There's lots of stuff that happened. Okay. We got 5 minutes. I might run a minute or two over. Hard drive lets you know when it's failing. Yeah, it squeals. Cool. I get enough posts from you, buddy. Yeah. Western Digital has their own S.M.A.R.T utility as well. Dave Rush, is there a cable tester for Ethernet cables that will tell you the CAT rating? Yes, a cable certifier. Open your wallet and spend between $10,000 and $30,000. Reading questions here. Western Digital blue. Yeah, there's blacks and there's blues and there's greens and there's reds. Those are different categories of longevity. That's basically it. It's longevity and reliability from Western Digital. They color code their hard drives. There's server grade hard drives and there's eco grade hard drives and so forth. I think you can use now the other way, Tulawit, is to check it by just plugging it in to a known gigabit Ethernet card and on a switch that supports 100 megabit and gigabit, and look at the color of the connection light, because they can't push a gigabit through Cat5. You need Cat5e. So you'll at least know if it's at least a 5e, and if it's not, then you'll only get a 100 megabit connection. I've done that accidentally. That's how I learned. I had some bad cables once. Right, Samsung's got their own thing. As I said, there are plenty of vendors who have their own proprietary S.M.A.R.Ts. Okay, Tulawit uses Magician a lot, and Cole mentioned it. Yeah, I know. Look, I bounce back and forth between Windows and Linux terminals, and so I do clear and CLS wrong all the time. Okay, reading. Reading. Sure, clicky hard drives are dying. I've got one that has click of death in my gaming machine that's so important. I have to send it out because I've got to, they'll replace the head movement in there, and I'll be able to get my old data off. I just haven't picked anybody to do it yet. Cole, you need to come over to Discord for these long hundreds of posts. Chewing up all my bandwidth, buddy. I got to read all that, and it's not much that there's for me to respond to. There you go. Yeah, no reason to keep those 100 megabit cables around. I can tell you're from Texas. I'm not from Texas. I have been living here for 30 years, but I'm 60 years old and I grew up in the Midwest. I don't have that I know of, a Texas accent. I only say y'all on purpose to troll the Texans. So I live here, but I'm not from here, though I do like it. If I was going to be from any place, besides where I'm from. This is where this is where I would love to be from. I've lived in a lot of other states. All right, caught up on questions. That takes that. Let's close this puppy up for the night. We'll do it again in another week or so. What is all that nonsense? So let's see what's coming up in the following weeks. And then close her down. So today we did some, okay, upcoming shows. So we did S.M.A.R.T today. I have 3 shows, maybe 4. One of them might be a 2-parter in the near future. I'm not sure of the order of them. I mentioned a couple of them in the past. Infrastructure as code, IAC, not 2 A's, is a new A+ objective. It means using programs and processes to automate configuring and provisioning hosts. So we're going to look at a popular utility to do that called Ansible. And I think that one's going to be a 2-parter. The installation, I think, is going to be a cakewalk, and then I need a good project to do that. And I found a project yesterday or today that is a little out of my normal mindset for the way to do Ansible. So we'll look at that. Maybe I'll even do a 3-part. 1, this method that I never considered, and 2, the one that's very popular. But either way, we're going to do something on Ansible. Of course, we had astrophotography coming up. I'm still waiting for my 64 megapixel ArduCam come in, and a quick, easy, fun one that I'm going to do on a Raspberry Pi on Rocky Linux in the Pi. We're going to do Boinc, B-O-I-N-C. And I'm going to let you look that up. I'm not going to tease you with it beyond that. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Mike's show on Monday, normal show, no special feature that he's planning. Hopefully a return to his new studio, and a reminder, his show after that, next Wednesday, Steve Nicholson returns to join him via Zoom. Also on tap. I'll do the on tap thing in November when we're getting up there. All right, so that winds us up here for the day. As ever and always, many thanks to Mike Myers, Total Seminars, National Cyber Group, and everybody in those organizations who so generously provides us with the time and the resources to get together with you and do this every week. And of course, my most heartfelt thanks goes to you and everybody who comes here to participate. I am Dave Rush. I'm the senior instructor at Total Seminars and resident Pi specialist, wishing you a great weekend. Take care of each other, take serious steps to stay healthy, call or visit your parents, and never forget, technology is great, but the greatest resource we have are you and I. So with that, good night. I'll pop in on Discord in a couple of minutes, and I'll see you at the AMAs next week. Until then, good night.